Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and today I've got my way too early 2022 NFL mock draft. You know, the draft day is my favorite day of the year, and I was going to do an early 2021 last year. I got that done, but I never posted it. But the thing is I'm going to post this, and I just love the draft, so that's why I have it out. And this players are gonna rise and fall. Like some players are gonna still be first rounders. Some players are gonna come into the first round that maybe aren't right now. Some players are gonna fall out of the first round. It just happens. It happens every draft season. So just expect that. I also want to say that this order is not made by me. It is based on the Super Bowl betting odds, I believe. But yeah, without further ado, here we go. Remember, Jesus is King. Turn your life and give it to Him. And without further ado, let's get started. With the first pick, I have the Houston Texans selecting Sam Howell, quarterback out of North Carolina. Right now, Sam Howell's my quarterback one in this class. I think he's the best quarterback in this class. He's the only one I've done. Now, granted, he is the only one I've done film study on so far. But so far, I really like Sam Howell. And don't tell me Davis Mills is going to be the quarterback. If they're picking number one overall, they're going to take Sam Howell. They're going to take one of the top quarterbacks. Deshaun Watson's not going to play there if he plays in the NFL again, which I hope he does because he's a fun player to watch. But he's not going to play for the Texans again, and I think Sam Howell would be the best quarterback in this class. There's no set-in-stone number one pick so far because last year we all knew it was going to be Trevor Lawrence. Let's be honest, Joe Burrow rose out of nowhere. But to me, Sam Howell is the best quarterback in this class. I have him going to the Texans. He had 496 completions on 770 attempts, 64.4% completion percentage. He threw for 7,227 yards. He averaged 9.4 yards. He's had 68 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, and his longest play was 87 yards. He was sacked 69 times, nice, and he had a passer rating of 168.8. And yeah, Sam Howell is my QB1. At pick number 2, if the Lions are picking that high, Jared Goff did not work out, and I have them taking Spencer Rattler, quarterback out of Oklahoma. I'm not as high on Rattler as a bunch of people are. I think he needs to prove himself and do a lot more. He definitely can become the quarterback one in this class, but personally, I have him at QB2 right now behind Howell. Could be because I'm an Oklahoma State fan, but honestly, I just think he needs to develop a little bit more. I don't think he's quite ready to be the number one quarterback in the class, but if he turns it around and he proves himself, then yeah, I think he could be the number one quarterback in this class. Just right now, he's my second best quarterback, fourth overall player in the class for me, just in case you were curious. He had 221 completions on 328 attempts. He completed 67.4% of his passes. He threw for 3,112 yards. He averaged 9.5 yards per play. He threw 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. His longest play was 61 yards. Was sacked 22 times and had a passer rating of 172.0. At number 3 overall, I have the Bengals selecting who I think is the best player in this class, and it's Kayvon Thibodeaux. Edge rusher out of Oregon. He had 67 total tackles, 43 solo tackles, 24 assist tackles, 6 passes defended, 12 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. Like I said, I think he's the best player in this class. He's an elite edge rusher, and I think the Bengals would love to snag him up. I thought they should have taken his teammate Penei Sewell in this draft. They pass on him, but Thibodeaux as a can't miss edge rusher in this class. Obviously, when we think back to last year's class, you got Micah Parsons, who could probably be used as an edge, but he was a linebacker. We didn't see our real first edge rusher go until the Colts selected Kwity Paye, I believe. But yeah, Kayvon Thibodeaux is an absolute beast, and he should be a top 5 pick, if not a top 3 pick, like I have him here. At 4th overall, I have the number 2 player in this class, Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback out of LSU. I won't lie, he did struggle last year, but his freshman season, he was phenomenal. He had 65 total tackles, 50 solo, 15 assists, 20 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, 6 interceptions for 17 yards. Those 6 interceptions, though, did happen his freshman year with the Joe Burrow national championship team. Struggled a little bit last season, but I think if he can get back to where he was his freshman year, he'll be one of the best corners. When evaluating him, I thought he was he was better than Jeff Okudah, in my opinion. And I think I heard it from Todd McShay where he talked to scouts in the 2020 draft. If Derek Stingley was eligible, he would have probably gone before Jeff Okudah that year. He was just that good of a player, and I think he is definitely going to be the best cornerback in this draft class. I mean, I could be biased, but I still think Patrick Surtain is better than him, a better prospect. Could be because I'm a Broncos fan, but Surtain is one of the best corners I've ever scouted. So, yeah. With the 5th overall pick, I have the Jaguars selecting Kyle Hamilton, safety out of Notre Dame. Normally we don't see safeties go this high anymore, but Kyle Hamilton is a special safety. He had 97 total tackles, 72 solo, 25 assists. He's defended 12 passes, got 5 interceptions, and he returned those 5 interceptions for 80 yards, and he scored 1 touchdown from those interceptions, and I think he'll be a beast for the Jaguars. I also do want to mention I need to do a lot more film study on these players, but these are just names to keep an eye out to watch in college football this year. So, yeah. At 6th overall, I have Evan Neal, offensive tackle out of Alabama, going to the Eagles, protecting Jalen Hurts. If they're picking this high, they're probably going to go quarterback, but right now I didn't feel comfortable giving them a top quarterback because the 2 top ones are gone, and then I didn't feel like the next one should go this high. He could, but I don't know if he will. He's not a generational tackle. He's not like Penei Sewell or Rashawn Slater, but he is a pretty good tackle. With the 7th pick, I have the Raiders selecting DeMarvin Leal. I wanted to give him some second, third round prospect, but I'm not going to do that because, I mean, they're the Raiders, but I'm not going to do that. I have them going to DeMarvin Leal out of Texas A&M. This is one of many Texas A&M players going in this draft. He had 68 total tackles, 28 solo, 40 assists. He defended 3 passes. He had 4.5 sacks, forced 1 fumble, 1 interceptions, and 43. He returned that interception for 43 yards. And yeah, I think the Raiders need to beef up that defensive line. They kind of solved that edge problem that they had. They got Max Crosby and Yannick Ngakoue. So now they want interior pressure. And I think DeMarvin Leal, the best defensive lineman in this class, going to the Raiders, is the best pick. At 8th overall, I have Kedon Slovis, quarterback out of USC, going to the Giants. This still could be a little bit early for him, but if the Giants are picking at 8th overall with Kenny Golladay, Evan Ingram, Kadarius Toney, Darius Slayton, Saquon Barkley, that line is not too bad. If they finish with 8th overall, they need a new quarterback, and Kedon Slovis, the 3rd best quarterback in this class, 559 completions, 656 attempts, completed 70% of his passes for 5,423 yards. He averaged 8.3 yards per play, and he threw 47 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. His longest play was 95 yards. He was sacked 38 times, and he had a passer rating of 158.2. At number 9, I have the Falcons selecting Kaiir Elam, cornerback out of Florida. They're going another Florida player here in the first round, Kyle Pitts last year. This time they're going the 2nd best quarterback. He had 49 tackles, 36 solo, 13 assists, 15 passes defended, and 5 interceptions. Haven't done a lot of film study, like I said, on most of these guys. But yeah, Falcons, I think they got A.J. Terrell. But I think they want to boost up that cornerback, the defensive back group a little bit. At 10th overall, I have the Panthers selecting Desmond Ritter, quarterback out of Cincinnati. If they're picking at 10th overall, clearly Sam Darnold didn't work out as they planned to. So getting Ritter out of Cincinnati is going to be a good move. He had 559 completions on 917 attempts. He completed 61% of his passes. He threw for 6,905 yards. He averaged 7.5 yards per play. He threw 57 touchdowns, 20 interceptions. His longest play was 77 yards long. He was sacked 67 times, and he had a pass rating of 140.4. Next, I have the Giants with their 2nd pick in the first round going Christian Harris, the linebacker out of Alabama. He had 131 tackles, 75 solos, 56 assists, 3 passes defended, 4.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 interceptions. One interception, sorry. And the Giants' defense is really good. I think adding a linebacker to that group will really help that defense and have it become an elite unit. And if Daniel Jones can figure stuff out, I think the Giants are going to be they're going to be a really good team, a really good team this year. At 12th overall, I have the Cardinals selecting Chris Olave, wide receiver out of Ohio State. Now, I do want to say this. I know there's a debate between him and his teammate, who we'll get to later, but let's focus on Chris Olave. You got DeAndre Hopkins, but you got A.J. Green and Larry Fitzgerald. What's going to happen with them next year? Are you comfortable with Christian Kirk and Andy Isabella? I don't know about that one. Select Chris Olave, one of the top receivers. My top receiver in this class at the moment. Could change. But yeah, he had 111 receptions, 1,775 yards, averaged 16 yards per play. He scored 22 touchdowns, and he had his longest play was 58 yards. And yeah, Chris Olave to me is the top receiver in this class. And like I said, DeAndre Hopkins is good, but if A.J. Green leaves and retires, and Larry Fitzgerald retires, I would not feel comfortable with Andy Isabella and Christian Kirk as the number 2, number 3. They're not bad, but I would like to have Chris Olave. At 13th overall, I have the Washington football team selecting J.T. Daniels, quarterback out of Georgia. He had 321 completions, 516 attempts, 62.2% completion percentage, 4,118 yards. He averaged 8 yards per play. He threw 25 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. His longest play was 65 yards. He was sacked 36 times and a passer rating of 140.2. I'm going to be honest. If Washington is picking 13, they need a quarterback. They got Ryan Fitzpatrick, Taylor Heineke, but they are not the quarterbacks of the future. If they can't make the playoffs or pick near a playoff spot, obviously Ryan Fitzpatrick is older, and I don't think Taylor Heineke is it anyway. But that offense with Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson is pretty good. That defense is really good. But yeah, they just need their franchise quarterback, and JT Daniels could be that guy. He could be a riser, though. I've seen a lot of people talk about how he's going to be the surprise quarterback, like Zach Wilson, Joe Burrow, those guys who just rise and are unexpected players to make a jump. So yeah, I think Washington could get their franchise quarterback here. At 14, I have the Vikings selecting Drake Jackson, edge out of USC. He had 66 total tackles, 34 solo tackles, 32 assist tackles, 3 passes defended, 7.5 sacks. He forced 1 fumble. He had 1 interception, which he returned for 10 yards. I have the Vikings selecting him for a reason. I can't remember, but I just think they need to add on to that edge group. With the 15th pick, I have Chris Olave's teammate right here, Garrett Wilson, wide receiver out of Ohio State, to the Steelers. Now, the Steelers' wide receiver core isn't bad. They could go quarterback here if they don't think Big Ben is going to be the answer and if they don't get a free agent quarterback. But, man, they got Juju Watt on a 1-year deal. They got Chase Claypool, who's was a pretty solid rookie this year. And they got Deontay Johnson, but I think Garrett Wilson here at 15 is just too great of a talent to pass up. He had 73 receptions for 1,155 yards, 15.8 average yards per play. He scored 11 touchdowns, and his longest play was 65 yards. I know a lot of people have Garrett Wilson over Chris Olave. However, I think Chris Olave, to me, is the number 1 receiver over Garrett Wilson, but Garrett Wilson is the number 2 receiver for me in this class. This is kind of like how it's been these past 2 years with Alabama. Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, now Chris Olave, and Garrett Wilson. But I think this would be a slam dunk pick for the Steelers, obviously, once they figure out their quarterback situation after Big Ben. At 16, we have my favorite team, the Denver Broncos, selecting Zion Nelson, offensive tackle out of Miami. Like I said, there's no stats for linemen on ESPN, and when it comes to linemen, they are the one position that I have the most trouble evaluating. I feel like I can evaluate every position pretty well except for offensive linemen, and to me, it's just Zion Nelson. He looks like a solid prospect from what I've heard in all the rankings, but we need an offensive tackle. Jawan James went down with an injury. He's played 3 games, 60 snaps or something like that for us. Not a lot. We signed someone I can't remember the name of to a 1-year deal this year, but man, if we pick 16, I feel like I'm fairly confident Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater was solid for us. Maybe we got Aaron Rodgers and we're picking later, but for me, we just need to solidify that right tackle position. We got Bulls, and now we just need to solidify the right tackle. At 17, I have the Chargers selecting George Karlaftis, edge rush out of Purdue. They lost Melvin Ingram. I think they lost Melvin Ingram, right? I don't think he's on the Chargers anymore. Maybe he is. Let me look that up because I don't want to misspeak. Yeah, he's a free agent right now. He's not on the Chargers anymore, so they need someone to replace him if they want that production from Joey Bosa. And he had 58 total tackles, 33 solo tackles, 25 assist tackles. He defended 2 passes. He had 9.5 sacks. He forced 1 fumble, and they got 1 interception. And yeah, just put someone opposite of Joey Bosa and let him help out and show why you paid Joey Bosa all that money. At 18, I have the Patriots selecting Justyn Ross, wide receiver out of Clemson. I'm going to be honest. That wide receiver core in New England isn't great. Julian Edelman retired. N'Keal Harry is not it. I'm trying to think out of who else they got over there. But yeah, at Justyn Ross, had a true number 1 receiver from Mac Jones to throw to. He went back to Clemson this year because of injuries. But yeah, he had 112 receptions on 1,865 yards. He averaged 60.7 yards per play. He got 17 touchdowns, and his longest play was 74 yards. With the 19th pick, I have the Saints selecting Jalen Wydermyer, tight end out of Texas A&M. Yeah, I mean, add a weapon for Jameis Winston. That wide receiving core is pretty good already, but I don't know. I feel like they could upgrade their tight end a little bit. Don't get me wrong, though. He's no Kyle Pitts. He's no Noah Fant. He's no T.J. Hawkinson in my eyes, but I think he's still a solid tight end. He had 78 receptions for 953 yards. He averaged 12.2 yards per play. He scored 12 touchdowns, and his longest play was 52 yards. At 20, I have the Eagles selecting Tyler Shaw, quarterback out of Texas Tech. If you're curious why he's wearing an Oregon uniform, he just transferred from Oregon to Texas Tech this year. But yeah, he had 118 completions on 182 attempts. He had a 64.8% completion percentage. He had 1,703 yards. He averaged 9.4 yards per play. He scored 16 touchdowns, he threw 6 interceptions. His longest play was 71 yards. He was sacked 12 times, and he had a passer rating of 165.9. At 21, I have the Cowboys selecting Zach Harrison, edge out of Ohio State. I mean, their edge rushers aren't bad, but I feel like they could add to that group with DeMarcus Lawrence and Jalen Smith. But yeah, he had 36 total tackles on 19 solo tackles. He had 17 assist tackles. He defended 2 passes, and he had 5.5 sacks. So yeah, just a beast to add to the Cowboys. At 22, I have the Jets adding Rasheed Walker, offensive tackle out of Penn State. Hey, just protect Zach Wilson. Give him a line. You got Mekhi Becton, Elijah Vera Tucker. I'd like to see a Rasheed Walker opposite Mekhi Becton. Just give Zach Wilson all the time to throw. I believe they drafted Elijah Moore this year. I think they drafted Elijah Moore. I'm gonna look that up again because I don't want to be. It was either them or the Jags. I think the Jags drafted Tyson Campbell. Yeah, they got Elijah Moore. I mean, they could add more weapons around him, but I would rather have him get protection so he can actually have time to throw. At 23, I have the Titans selecting George Pickens, wide receiver out of Georgia. And yeah, I think I think George Pickens could go back for another year, but if he's a first round talent, I don't see why he would. Titans lost Corey Davis. I mean, I know their primary offense is through Derrick Henry, and they have A.J. Brown, but I think George Pickens would just be too good to pass up. He had 85 receptions on 1,240 yards. He averaged 14.6 yards per play. He scored 14 touchdowns, and his longest play was 51 yards. At 24, the Eagles' third first-round pick, Isaiah Spiller, running back out of Texas A&M. Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of Texas A&M players going in this draft. He had 362 attempts for 1,982 yards. He averaged 5.5 yards per play. He scored 19 touchdowns, and his longest play was 85 yards. So, I mean, I don't hate Miles Sanders, but I think Isaiah Spiller is a great running back. So, I honestly, I understand if you're yelling at me like, oh, they have Miles Sanders. Hey, I don't hate Miles Sanders. I think Isaiah Spiller, though, could be an absolute beast for them. At 25, I have the Browns selecting Bubba Bolden, safety out of Miami. This was probably the hardest pick for me to make in this mock draft because I think the Browns are such a complete team this year. Man, I think they're an absolute complete team. I just have them selecting Bubba Bolden, safety help for the future. Yeah, he had 84 total tackles, 61 solo tackles, 23 assist tackles. He defended 4 passes. He got 1 sack. He forced 5 fumbles. He had 2 interceptions. And he returned those 2 interceptions for 8 yards. I wouldn't be surprised if Bubba Bolden takes Kyle Hamilton's spot as the number 1 safety in this class this year. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I think Bubba Bolden is going to be a beast. I think he's going to be great. At 26, I have the Packers selecting Charles Cross, offensive tackle out of Mississippi State. I have them trying to get some protection for Jordan Love because I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be their quarterback. And, yeah, I mean, they don't really draft to help their quarterback in the first round, but, give him some help opposite David Bakhtiari with Charles Cross here. At 27, I have the Dolphins selecting the best center in the class, Tyler Linderbaum. And, yeah, just upgrade that offensive line for Tua, give him some time. At 28, I have the Ravens selecting Sevyn Banks, cornerback out of Ohio State. Just once again, adding some more depth to that cornerback position. They got some studs back there, but I have the Ravens. Going with corner here. Next, I have the Bills selecting John Mitchell, the third wide receiver out of Alabama. Could this be the next first-round wide receiver from Alabama? Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle. Will he be next? Who knows? I mean, the Bills got Emmanuel Sanders, but he's on a 1-year contract and getting old. They obviously got Stephon Diggs. Just adding some depth to that receiving room, I think, could be very helpful. And we'll see if they go in that direction. At 30, you have the Lions selecting Kenyon Green, guard out of Texas A&M, the best guard in this class at the moment. But yeah, I think they're going to be going to booster that line for their new quarterback in Spencer Rattler, as I have in this draft. And yeah, I'm sorry these are getting fast. It's just, like I said, I haven't done a lot of scouting and, just giving you prospects to watch. At 31, I have the Buccaneers selecting Ventrell Miller, linebacker out of Florida. I mean, Buccaneers are so stacked. This is just going to be the eventual Levante David replacement. Obviously, they got Devin White, but I think they like what they have going on with Devin White and Levante David. So eventually, since Devin White, the Levante David's getting older, this is going to be the eventual replacement. 156 tackles, 87 solos, 69 assists, 5 passes defended, 7.5 sacks, got 1 interception for 82 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, I think he's going to be a beast. And at 32, I have the Chiefs selecting Perion Winfrey, defensive lineman out of Oklahoma. I don't hate their defensive line. I just feel like they're getting a little bit older, so add some depth here and help solidify that interior of the defense. But yeah, thank you for watching this way too early mock draft. I'll be shocked if I get one of these correct. But yeah, we'll see. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you with another mock draft. I'd say probably wait till week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, around that area for my next mock draft. So it's going to be a couple months away. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace.